Hey, Gloucester Township. I'm Joe Allen here with Keith Gibbons, and this is the Restored GT podcast. So, on the agenda today, we've got the September 26th council meeting. It's been a little while since we've met last, and
it's been a few weeks. Yeah, you've been out. You had a wedding.
Had a honeymoon.
I know, honeymoon. Yeah.
Hopped on a cruise ship. Went away. Forgot about Gloucester Township for a little while, and came back. And
lucky you.
It has not changed at all.
It's not.
So it's gotten worse. Actually, they didn't replace my house, luckily, with a warehouse while I was gone. So yeah. That's a huge plus. We got a little warehouse talk coming up later on. I'm sure a lot of you are interested in that. But this past Monday was our latest council meeting, and not an eventful one. We didn't do a podcast on the previous one because I was away. Keith was doing a lot of work, but you didn't miss a whole lot on that one. So we're going to recap the September 26th council meeting, and basically to start off with, I think,
one of the very vocal, residents.
We've had Denise on the podcast.
Yeah, she's been on the podcast before. She went out with a very powerful statement, we'll say, to council during the public comments section of it, where you have 5 minutes to say on any topic at all, and she chose to defend all of our First Amendment rights and what her thoughts are around those. And I mean I think it's worth giving the time to listen to all of it because it's pretty impactful. But
yeah, it's a bit long as far as clips go, but hang out, check it out, and we'll be back to comment on it.
I believe that people have to stand up for what they believe in. So with that in mind, I have a statement I want to read.
Sure.
The First Amendment gives us certain rights. Among them is the freedom of speech, the right to assemble, the right to petition our government for a redress of grievances without fear of retaliation. One purpose of the First Amendment was to protect the free discussion of governmental affairs. You do not give us these rights. As public servants, you're elected to uphold and protect them. That's your duty that we, the citizens, entrust you with.
That's right.
Local Government Ethics Law 40A:9-22.2, Legislative Findings and Declaration states, the legislature finds and declares that A, public office and employment are a public trust. B, the vitality and stability of the representative democracy depends on the public's confidence in the integrity of its elected and appointed representatives. C, whenever the public perceives a conflict between the private interest and the public duties of a government officer or employee, that confidence is imperiled. D, governments have the duty both to provide their citizens with standards by which they may determine whether public duties are being faithfully performed and to apprise their officers and employees of the behavior which is expected of them while conducting their public duties. As citizens, our duties are to make sure our elected officials are being transparent and to hold you accountable for your decisions and actions.
Transparent.
In order for us to fulfill our duties, we need to ask questions. We should be able to expect truthful, clear, and concise answers. The freedom of speech, the ability to ask questions and to get truthful answers is essential in preserving our democracy. The truth doesn't mind being questioned. It's lies that don't like being challenged. According to Robert Reich, professor of public policy at the University of California, when tyrants control our government, they typically, 1, try to discredit those that expose them.
Watch our land.
2, repeatedly lie to the public even when confronted with the facts. 3, they attack the motives of anyone who opposed them. 4, they appoint family members, friends, and neighbors to positions of authority. And 5, they keep their finances secret and draw no distinction between personal property and public property. I realize that the public is also at fault for allowing tyrants to rule us instead of representing us. We have a duty to exercise our rights and to stand up and voice our concerns and to cast our votes. The majority of the public does not exercise their rights, which causes us to lose our representation and places everyone's rights in jeopardy. In closing, I'm going to quote Thomas Jefferson. While referencing our government, he said, quote, "Even under the best forms, those entrusted with power have in time and by slow operations perverted it into tyranny, and it's believed that the most effective means of preventing this would be to illuminate it in the minds of the people at large." I'm adding illumination to my list of duties. I'm also asking the public to show up, stand up, and help protect our communities and our rights. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
So that was it. Just
That
thank
was
you.
it. Just a thank you. And,
Yeah.
man, I listen to that and I think about all the things that I haven't been able to say to the people. Because it is...
You were fearful? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's our responsibility. It's our responsibility to step up.
It is, yeah.
And take care of that. And, you know, and people have done it by running. They've done it by going to council meetings and speaking up like Denise has, and so many others have. But there's not
we're
enough.
doing it here with a podcast, telling people what's going on. We're trying to bring light to it in our own way here.
And man, it just I get frustrated because there's a lack of participation from the rest of the folks in the town. And there is 60,000 people in here, 50,000 voters, and there's just nothing. There's a few people, and we're gonna talk about the warehouse thing later, but it did strike me to seeing that the council chambers full on Wednesday.
Yeah,
all these people that all of a sudden found an issue with things in town, and I thought
it affected them directly, and they're gonna get in there. But the other thing is, everything that happens in those chambers there during a council meeting affects every one of us every single week.
It does, and we're there.
And people
we're there
don't.
every 2 weeks. And when we put up with the same thing, all those people that were frustrated and people were getting thrown out, that's every 2 weeks, folks. It's every 2 weeks, and it's not going to change unless you make it change.
No, it was pretty amazing. It was, I believe, it was last Thursday. You and I were going to get together to do the podcast, and something had came up where I said I can't make it.
Yeah,
I have to go to this other town meeting because I own a property there that I have an Airbnb, and I was given bad information saying that they were trying to ban Airbnbs. I didn't look into it. I just went to go speak my voice. Now, I've been there before. It's been quite a few years since I've been back, but I've been going regularly to Gloucester Township Council meetings, and my expectation, I guess I'll say, of what would happen at a meeting like that was completely different than the reality of what I actually encounter. So I get to the meeting. There's the agenda items on. Well, first of all, it's a different form of government, so there's not as many. There's commissioners versus council members. It's a little bit different, but that's the minutia of it. But the overall everything about the meeting was complete night and day difference of how our council meetings are run versus how that was run. Everything on the agenda, on the consent agenda, and a consent agenda is where they're just voting yes or no on whatever it is, 10 or 600 items, all in one foul swoop. But there were probably, no exaggeration, 20 different items that were on the consent agenda. They read through and explained every single one of the items that were on the consent agenda, discussed them, and then later on voted on them. When it was time for the public to go up and speak, every single person that had, and this was just a workshop that was built into, we've talked about this before on other podcasts where we say, this is out of place when you go and submit an eGov question, and that eGov question is read after the vote was already heard. So why can't we do the? But anyway, the workshop meetings that we have talked about in the past, that is basically the public's opportunity to go in and talk back and forth about something that's coming up that would become an ordinance or, something along those lines. They get canceled. The meetings get canceled, and and whatnot, and then it just shows up on the agenda, and they say they don't have to. Well, the way that they run theirs, it's obviously a different government there, but every Thursday. If there's nothing on the agenda for that, for that workshop, it just gets passed over. But that one particular, whatever is last Thursday of the month, that meeting ends up being a workshop meeting. But anyway, I'm going off on a little tangent here. That the night and day difference of the respect that every single person was given, and yes, there's time is limited, but it wasn't who gets called on out of the audience from the Almighty. It was, if you have something to say, stand up behind the microphone and you'll get your 3 minutes. How many people could there possibly be? If there's a big topic of conversation for that week, guess what? There's a big topic of conversation for that weekend. Everybody gets a chance to say it. Not 5 people for 3 minutes and that's it. And that's, on to the next thing because we got to get out of here. And it was amazing to be reminded that that's how something like that can happen and does happen in other towns.
I'm done. Yeah, over the last 2 years, I've watched council meetings from other places. Specifically, I've had some friends that had some issues up in like North Jersey, and they've gone and they've been on Twitter about their experiences, and they've posted links to their council meetings. And I was like, what? That seems like a nice place to go.
Yeah, right.
You have no idea what we're dealing with down here.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good point.
I kind of got off on a way off topic, but that's a part of the First Amendment thing, is that every one of us has a right to say something. Our government should be transparent with us. She says when you ask questions, you should expect clear and concise answers, not an answer to a question that you didn't ask. Like we've gone over, we showed that one question asked, what was it, 4 times or something like that before you got an actual answer to the question that you asked.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be.
So, and it's gonna remain like that. Unfortunately, until the end of 2023, when the next election is, when 4 of them get replaced. So, look, folks, nobody's building a campaign yet. So, if you're interested, we'll gladly assist. So next topic. Yeah. Next topic is a short topic, and it was just something that kind of struck my mind. There's the last several months, we've talked about different things in the main stage parking lot. So that was another thing that we talked about. Just different things in that, and I guess that the ordinance.
Well, it had to do with a parking ordinance, and I'm not exactly sure, like you said, like why we spend so much time talking about it. Not that it's a lot of time, but it's on there a lot, and I think it's just the process of what an ordinance has to go through with an introduction and a second reading and all that kind of thing of how government has to work. I believe that's why it's so often on there.
I think it's been 3 or 4 meetings that we've talked about that parking lot, and it brought up a good question though, and I think somebody might have asked. I think the main stage building is owned by the township.
Right. It's operated by a nonprofit organization, which is Main Stage.
The library next door is owned by the township. Yep. The bank is now owned by the township on the corner there. The white building next to the bank, that's now also owned by the township. It's going to be torn down. It's going to turn into a parking lot it's going to fit like 12 cars. Right. But and then across the street, the lot next to the old Rite Aid is also owned by the township.
Park. Yeah.
So it's tough to think about an arts district when the town owns everything.
Yeah.
So it is, I don't know, man.
They're very artsy, Joe. Very artsy.
I'd really want downtown Blackwood to succeed, and not as much as you do. I mean, you are all about downtown Blackwood, and it's just it's tough to think about if the entire town, if the town owns that entire section of it, how much are we going to be able to make art out of that part of the town? So just a thought that I figured it's a topic that I would bring up.
Yeah, but actually, that at this council meeting, it was the overall gist of it was they were trying to do a parking ordinance or be able to enforce a parking ordinance for overnight stays and whatnot in the parking lot of Main Stage, which then, like you said, trails off onto. Wait, why do we have we own half of the block?
Yeah, why are we doing an ordinance for a private company, and then we realize it's not really a private owned land. It's town. Yeah, so it's just, I don't know. It was something that I thought that I remembered from the meeting that I just thought I'd bring up, that I thought that was weird that they own now so much of the town. It's I don't know. I don't like it, man. I just
I hear you.
But Yeah, it's just one of the things. And then, honestly, guys, not a whole lot going on at the council meeting. But there was one pretty amazing part of the council meeting, and so I guess before...
Do you call it a bombshell? Is that what it is?
Yeah, maybe. So before this all happened, there was word that Councilwoman Tracy Trotto
The vice president.
Yeah, she left that she sold her house in Gloucester Township. I have no idea how anybody knew this,
right.
But
I don't know where she lives. I don't check this stuff, but I did get a message like, "Hey, look, did you see this?" I'm like, I don't know. It's a thing on Zillow.
I mean, first thought was, wow, I've probably looked and seen where council members look. I kind of just want to see how big their houses were, but that was kind of the last thing. I think it was the last thing I ever checked on them. But somebody said Tracy Trotto moved and we think she left the township. And then somebody also said, hey, I think that she wound up moving to her parents' house in Washington Township.
I know she'd seen her driving. Well, I shouldn't say it. My daughter sees everybody, and as we're driving over near Washington Township, she sees her often over that way. Like, oh, look, there's... And somehow she knows who these people are, but...
The rumor had been around since July that she was no longer living in township, but she was still attending council meetings and voting on things in council, so...
And part of the problem is when you're on council, you need to be a resident of the township. That's where the issue, I guess, here comes from. So somebody sent in a eGov question, Sam Sweet, and the interesting answer was given back that just she sold her house and that's it. She's living in the township.
She still lives here.
I don't know what township, but the township.
So check out this clip, and then we'll continue afterwards.
Yeah.
Our second GT eGov access email is from Sam Sweet at 18 Elizabeth Place, near New Jersey. I see that on Zillow, Councilwoman Tracy Trotto sold her house in Glendora back in July this year. I also do not see where Councilwoman Trotto has purchased another home in Gloucester Township. Is she still a resident of Gloucester Township? May I get her updated address? Mrs. Trotto did sell her home and has been residing in the township in the interim.
And that's it. That's the answer.
So she lives here. No, we don't know where.
Right.
Nobody was willing to let us know where. But
take that answer. That's good enough. That's all you need. But
that's
then
it.
Later on in the evening, so this happened during the eGov questions, which we explained the process of the night for you folks that don't usually attend. That's someone in the middle, we'll call it, of the meeting. So it had to be a good 20 minutes or so, later on, where the meeting is wrapping up. Everyone's giving their final, thanks for coming out, drive safe, whatever other, message they want to send out that night, or announce, something that's going on in there. Either way, at the very end, this is the news that we get. Here, listen to this. Same meeting.
Prior to the meeting, I was provided a letter from Vice President Trotto. Vice President Trotto has submitted her resignation, and that's effective at the close of this meeting. So, Madam Clerk, I am asking you to notify, since Mrs. Trotto is a member of the Gloucester Township Democratic County Committee, as a councilwoman, a Democratic councilwoman, to notify the chairman of the Gloucester Township Democratic Committee and formally advise him that Mrs. Trotto submitted her resignation effective at the end of this meeting.
So, yeah.
So why? Why is she all of a sudden?
Well, I don't understand.
Because she doesn't live here?
Maybe I'm mistaken, but there was the perfect opportunity. He said, before this meeting began, I was handed a letter of resignation. Okay, so we had a question around that exact topic at that same point in time. Was it because you can't give credit to the person that brought the topic up that it would have to be that? Or are they completely two separate things and just a coincidence? But to me, there's no... I don't understand the reasoning of why go all meeting long, not say anything about it. And then the very end, it's like, we knew this all along, guys, but here's the information.
Why did she resign?
Why did she resign?
Was she just like... she just maybe she heard Denise's speech ahead of time, and
Oh,
she was
yeah.
like, "I can't do this anymore, folks."
Right.
I don't know. Or is it the fact that she maybe, there's theories that maybe she resigned in July, and they were like, "Hold off on that. We're gonna hold this letter. If anybody figures it out, we got it." Or maybe
Right.
I didn't pay too much attention to her during the meeting. Maybe she was quick typing it up.
Right.
And then
right.
send
Right.
it to
I didn't see any
Orlando.
notes getting passed. I don't know how that works, but
There was talk of somebody was going to make a request on the actual email and when it was
yeah.
sent, so that we could possibly timestamp it and find out when it was she actually resigned. Because I don't.
it is interesting.
It's
very
kind of a
interesting.
problem if she no longer lived here and has been serving. Now we know she sold her house in July. She's been serving on council since July. It's kind of an issue that she's been here representing people that she doesn't live with anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah, but the biggest takeaway was we got lied to 20 minutes before. Unless maybe she was sleeping on her neighbor's
Well,
sofa. I
not
don't
saying
know.
something. Well, I guess you're right. We were lied to if she does not live here anymore.
Maybe for the good of the town, she sold her house, moved everything into her parents' house, but she slept on the neighbor's sofa.
That's possible.
So that she could represent the people of this town.
That's possible.
That would be commendable. I would,
Kudos.
I'll go to Washington Township and vote for her there. So because she went that far.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how we feel. That's how we feel about a lot of different topics. Is that we're not always given all the truth.
Not all the
but-
facts, no.
No, so I guess one of the
That leads
last,
you to speculate. Then you look like a conspiracy theorist.
I've been called that a lot. Yeah, hanging out with the whole group that goes to council meetings and
Yeah.
and the Republican club events at Skeeters and all those things. I've been called a
It's
conspiracy
a lot of
theorist.
conspiracy theorists.
I haven't really been proven wrong though. So, if you have photos, if you're a neighbor of Trotto and you've got photos of her sleeping on the floor, shoot them over. We'll
Submit it.
we'll rescind. Yeah, we'll take back everything we said. But so I guess that was kind of the last thing for council meeting, and we're kind of just going to combine everything over the last 2 weeks into this one.
Yeah, there's a lot.
This one episode rather than cutting it up like we did the last episodes. So you want to talk a little bit about the NPP grant?
Yeah, so this past week, so September 26th, I believe, was the date of the council meeting, and that same morning in Gloucester Township Arts District, there was the NPP program, which I know we've gone over in the past, which is the Neighborhood Preservation Program that the town was given money from the state, and it's to be spent to improve downtown Blackwood. Part of the budget for this year's $125,000 was 3 residents within the boundaries of the NPP were going to be given $5,000 grants, and then 6 businesses were also going to be given $5,000 grants. These grants were to improve paint, siding, landscape, things that visually from the street you can tell that money was spent to improve the look of this. And every year for 5 years, there's going to be, that same money. And in theory, that money will be spent with residents and whatnot to be able to, apply for that grant and be able to spend it on their homes. The odd thing, maybe it's just me, but so it was a first come, first serve basis grant awardment. Is that a word, awardment? But, they were awarded on a first come, first serve basis. When you go onto the website, it just said Monday it will be coming. There's no time, no anything. It's just there's a link. It will be available here Monday. Now, you would think for something that is first come, first serve, and somebody wanted to be on it, they would have a time that they know, 9 a.m. Monday morning, or 10 a.m. or 10:57 a.m., whatever the time was, Okay, I can go get my application here, fill it out, and submit it. I have probably within the the boundaries of the NPP, boundaries, and I myself went at midnight on Sunday into Monday because there was no times. I don't know. Was it Monday starting midnight? Nope, wasn't there. 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 9:45, 10:15. Like, when is this thing coming out? I have no idea. So I end up getting the link to it to show up, fill out all the information, go to submit it, and it bounces back because the email address that you're supposed to send it to doesn't have the ability to take a file that's any kind of size. Great. So now I have to run down to the township building to go try to turn it in and say, okay, can I have a receipt of the time that you received this application? There's not a way for them to give you any kind of receipt, or they won't give you a receipt of any kind of timestamp. That doesn't, to me, set a good, a feeling to anybody that was actually going to try to win this grant to go improve their own property within the, with the boundaries of that. How do you know who this is being? I mean, that's part of being transparent. This goes back to Denise's coins, first thing about First Amendment, rights. This should be completely transparent. It's not even your money. It's the state giving it to. I don't understand how that level of negligence. I don't know another word for it. If it's just a mistake, that's a. I mean, we paid. Who was it? I don't know who was it. Triad or who does our Jake from State Farm? What's the guy's name?
Man.
But they get paid thousands of dollars to do this stuff. The application for the business owners portion of it apparently wasn't put out. The property that I have is a commercial property, so that didn't qualify according to, according to the rules over there. But there's another date for commercial, so I would fall into the 6th things. But it's a whole thing that just really annoyed me. That this is really.
I think we either paid somebody. It was either $92,000 or $130,000. It might have been to manage that program.
No, there was the grant was received, and then we do have it was $32,000, I believe it is the number, $35,000, but that's Regina in the mayor's office got paid that as additional salary to herself.
Oh, then I'm thinking of the old grant from.
You're thinking about the old one, with the
all right.
Yeah, with the businesses that got the grants. Yes,
right.
That was town-wide, and they created an application to see if you applied to fill out the application, which is what tells you if you actually apply. So, there was a redundancy added to it just to be able to pay the, I think that was Triad as well.
Gotcha. And then I guess we found out by looking that the program is over.
Yeah, so, I mean, that was instantly done. There was September 26th. I believe it was till October 7th was the dates. But again, it was only three residents within the town or within the NPP borders that would be awarded that that contract or not contract, that grant. Anyway, that was that was just really annoying to me. It says, due to the overwhelming response from the residents of the NPP district, the application is now closed. So it was kind of just, all right, it's done. It's done out there. 3 people will get it. We don't know who. There's no way to check if they were first or not first, or it was just a name that they liked, or if it was just a drawing out of a hat, or spun on a wheel and a chicken clucked at it. I don't know. Who knows?
Probably not giving it to the guy that does the podcast that talks about
it. No, it's probably not. Probably is not him. So, yeah.
So, that's pretty much it for
That was Monday. That was Monday in Gloucester Township.
That was basically Monday in Gloucester Township. And big topic that everybody has been talking about for, it's been weeks now. This was...
Yeah, big topic in Gloucester Township is the warehouses.
Since I think the beginning of... I think this was actually an August thing that was scheduled for the beginning of September.
I think it even goes back further than that, Joe. I think it started, the uproar started around the warehouses that were zoned to be warehouses that
By
people
Target.
were upset about.
Yeah.
That then turned into, oh yeah, by the way, we're also going to put these other warehouses at the, or we want to put these other warehouses at the, what's it called?
The freeway golf course.
Freeway golf course. Thank you. Yeah, I just did a lot of talking. Sorry. But yeah, so that was, I think, the start of the whole uproar of the warehouses, but it's grown now. People are saying, okay, that was zoned for, the warehouses. We'll leave it at that. But this one here, this is R1 residential, one home per district, or one home per acre that was supposed to be what that's zoned for. You're not putting warehouses there. So Wednesday night was the first time after, I believe it was 3 cancellations. It could have been 2, and this was the third one.
This was the third one, yeah.
Yeah. So there were 2 cancellations where residents were planning to go out there, pissed off, want to, speak their voice, and then the meeting gets canceled the day before or the day of. I don't remember exactly what they were.
I believe it was like the day of, because it was. So some people grabbed onto this, and this started when a warehouse was proposed in kind of the aerial section.
Yeah.
Right behind Target. If you look behind Target, there are townhomes, and then there's a field across the street from new single-family homes, and that field was proposed to be a warehouse, a 48-bay warehouse, and that got people completely fired up, just based on traffic and the location. They thought it was a terrible location, but it's already zoned to be commercial, so it can be a warehouse. But that got people started, and then right as people were fired up, somebody else came along and said, we're going to do a warehouse over where the old freeway golf course is on Sicklerville Road. And
that got them even more fired up.
That really, you've got
bad timing on announcing that one, folks, because
you've got a huge property there, and what is apparently going to be a massive.
It's 4 warehouses totaling over 1 million square feet of warehouse.
Yeah.
297 bays for tractor trailers, and I believe 1,300 parking spots for employees. So not a small warehouse. This isn't like, a tiny warehouse. This is massive. Massive.
So because of the uproar, and people were walking door to door handing out flyers saying, come help us, and so people were ready to show up the first time.
Well,
and then they rescheduled it.
There were certain people that knew what was going to happen with it being canceled, and they try to, this is all speculation what I'm saying, but they try to wear people down, get you discouraged because you just spent all this time walking the streets, getting your neighbors out, trying to get everybody out, and then they show up and there's no meeting. And they figure out, or they hope.
Yep.
Again, speculation, but it's true. They hope that half of those people don't show up, and then you didn't go get more people. And you do this a few times, and the problem kind of goes away, and it just quietly passes through. Unfortunately, this time, people have not given up, and they've gone and gotten more people. And they started a GoFundMe account to hire and retain, a land attorney that's helping. And so it's a big thing. It's grown into somewhat of a problem for the landowners who are asking for this these variances, I should say. But
so at council chambers was full,
packed.
Standing room only. If you were there, or if you've watched I found a video a resident recorded earlier and posted on restoredt.com of the warehouse portion of the meeting.
The meeting, because it was rescheduled a few times, it was somewhat of a stacked agenda, and it started off with the Friendlies that's over on Blackwood Clemendon Road was being proposed to be a marijuana dispensary. It did not meet the requirements that were laid out in the ordinance that we just passed. I mean, that wasn't a few months back. I don't know when it was.
Yeah,
it's a very new. These are the rules, and literally like a few months later, we're asking, "Hey, we're going to change all those rules we just put out there."
I saw a comment by Mark that does 42 Freeway.
Okay, yeah.
And he was like, look, guys, this warehouse is not a done deal. They just denied the dispensary. And it was like,
Slow
wait
down.
a minute.
You know that was
We just wrote the rules on dispensaries and anything marijuana related, so it would be really odd if
not
they
the
all of a sudden
best
turned
optics.
around. And look, several of the council members already said that they're kind of against, or pretty much not kind of, but they are against a lot of these marijuana-based businesses in our township. So
Yeah.
it wasn't surprising that they turned that down. Some people said, "Oh, it was really surprising." It was not surprising for any of us that have been there. But when it comes to the family that is selling this property for the warehouse, it wouldn't be surprising if they just ran it straight through. So that's kind of what it comes down to. So yeah, if you were planning on going to Friendly's and
Getting a friendly treat.
getting more than ice cream,
It was too close to the Millbridge Apartments entrance there, which was one of the regulations of how close it can be to an entrance to a development. And it was also very close to a school of some sort. It was like not elementary, but like a, what do you call it?
preschool.
Preschool, yeah.
Yeah.
So both of those owners of those properties came fighting for their, rights, I guess, saying, this is the rules you laid out. This is how close they are. No. And it was voted down. So, like you said, some of us weren't exactly surprised that it was voted down, but others were and gave them hope.
Right. We kind of knew. I mean, we knew the pulse of the township on how they felt about that particular thing, and we just, with the ordinance being so new, we knew that was coming. So that wasn't a surprise. So there's a Facebook group called No Warehouse Scenario, and they I believe it's somebody named Beth put that together. She did the
Brian
GoFundMe.
Burns has been doing a lot of work with her, I believe. Like, they've been collaborating on efforts.
We've talked about Brian before. Brian is a big land preservation guy, and he's helped push through several deals where the township bought some more historic type land and preserved it. So they bought some. I think they bought some farms from some families.
And this is all through grants from the from the state and money that they have available for this. It's not like it cost us taxpayers money.
Yes,
that we just went and bought this and spent money. It was somewhat free, if you will.
So yeah,
that's free, but you know what I mean.
So they were trying to retain an attorney. They did a GoFundMe, and I believe they're still short on it. I
believe they were looking for like $7,500 for the retainer, and they were up. Last I looked, it was like 4,000 something, 4,200 or something around there.
Somebody had just recently asked, and I thought they were like under $2,000 short.
Yeah,
it was like $1,700. So, I mean, hey, if this is something you're passionate about and you don't want a warehouse here, by all means, go ahead.
Not a million square. I mean,
donate.
A lot of.
Unfortunately, it's wiping out a pretty historic, old golf course. It's a shame we can't get somebody else in here, Jaworski, to buy the golf course and turn it into something. It does have great historic value. It is possibly one of the first black-owned golf courses in the United States.
Yes.
So it's a shame to see it go and turn into warehouse. But so the house was packed. A lot of green shirts in the.
There was a lot of
green shirts to say what
intimidation.
Build it now.
They did say build it now. Yeah, these were union employees sent. In speaking to a few of them, they had no idea why they were even there.
They were just told to be there. So obviously
told to be there. Put this shirt on. This, I know it doesn't fit you, but put this. This is yours. Take this one.
They stood.
Put it on
all the way around the perimeter of the room. From what I did not go to this meeting, but people were sending me photos and everything else, and I saw them around the room, kind of showing. Some would say support. I would say they're more showing a little bit of intimidation.
Yeah.
Bright green shirts with "Build It Now" on it. So that's.
Well, what I found interesting is the union the idea behind a union is they're there to protect you from losing your job, right? Like they find work for you and all that. They're there to protect you from your job. The ones that I spoke to, they said that they were basically threatened if they didn't show up or else. And you're saying, wait, hold on. So you mean to tell me that the union that's supposed to be protecting you just threatened your job to lose your job if you don't come to this meeting, showing support to build a warehouse in a historic golf course? That's like, what?
Go there and wear this sign. That is
you can't make this up. I mean, it's insane.
Before several people mentioned that they talked to these guys, and these guys really had no idea why they were there, I saw the photos of it, and I thought, wow, what a disgraceful way to intimidate people that are just genuinely concerned about
their backyard.
About their backyards. It was just... so this was... you watch the video. I mean, the full thing on the warehouse discussion is on our website. People were fired up. You could hear grumblings up throughout the whole thing. The videos on our website, they're posted by a resident that takes a camera with him. So actually his video is better than the township's video, and his audio
as far as the audio, it definitely
audio it's way better. But this
may or may not be intentional. I don't know.
This was a private resident that was taking some video, and one of the things, the biggest thing on everybody's mind, outside of losing such a big, great space and a historic site, is the traffic that this is going to create, and we wanted you to check out this clip of talking.
Right. So just to explain, this applicant, just like any one of us, absolutely 100% has the right to go in front of council and ask for this here. It doesn't mean it needs to be granted, and it doesn't mean that it's not absolutely outrageous what they're asking. So this particular applicant, who is the Petrongelos, who own AP Construction, they brought 4 different experts in different areas. One of them being traffic. Another one was just, I guess, the planner, overall, project person. There was another planner and a sound engineer or a sound expert of some sort.
Yep, acoustics.
Acoustics, correct. So the first person that we're going to play you a clip of here is the traffic guy. The traffic guy who has a self-proclaimed almost 20 years experience in this. Works for some firm, but either way, here, listen to this is nuts. Hear this.
When you're talking about speculative buildings and we don't know the future tenants, the trips to be generated really are most accurately done just based on the square footage of those buildings. And that's how we do studies for all these sites throughout the state, not only my office, but any other traffic engineers as well.
Okay, so pause that there, right?
The other question I had too is...
So that's basically what he says. It is speculative because they don't know how many trucks there are. None of us know this, but we just know, in general, a warehouse that's 1 million square feet has to generate some kind of traffic, right? That's basically what it is. So listen to this this guy here in how many trips. Now this part, pay attention to the differentiation between trips and trucks. Just listen.
Obviously, there's going to be a lot of tractor trailers here.
Yes.
What is your estimate per day of how many tractor trailers are going in and out?
So the estimate during the peak hour times would be about 10 to 15% of the total trips generated during that peak hour. So in the AM or the PM peak hour, we would be anticipating about 30 to 35 tractor trailer trips during the AM and PM peak hours. Like I said, typically the tractor trailer trips are outside of the peak times. Overall, based upon the ITE trip generation rates, I believe that this site would be looking at around 1,500 tractor trailer trips per day, given the square footage.
1,500 per day?
So 1,500 trips. So a trip is either an inbound or an outbound movement. So if you assume that every truck that arrives departs, that would be approximately 750 trucks per day.
Come on, we're trying to get through this. Stop.
And that's over a 24-hour period for
24 hours, my bad.
Or all 1.5 million square feet of the site.
Okay, 1.5 million square feet is going to generate 1,500 trips a day. Now, folks, hold on. Joe, do you have a calculator here? How many minutes are in a day?
1,440.
You're right. 1,440 minutes a day. There's going to be more tractor trailer trips a day than there are minutes in a day.
One tractor trailer
Per minute.
either going to the place or leaving the place on Sicklerville Road.
Yeah.
1,500 of them a day. So that's one a minute.
But wait, your question was around how many tractor trailers. That's actually only 750 because they're going out and coming in.
So
it's only like every other minute, folks.
The tractor trailer is counted when he's coming in, but when he's leaving,
it's not counted.
He doesn't cause traffic.
Right. That amount of road that he's taking up doesn't actually exist. He's not actually in traffic.
It's a rocket
there,
ship.
So.
It just
right,
leaves. It goes vertical. So
these are the games
that is. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Only 750, but it's
insane.
750 coming in, 750 going out. That's 1,500
trips a day.
Trips a day.
Speculated.
So I was thinking, like, what does now? I live off Garwood Road, which ends at Sicklerville Road, and I was thinking, it's that red light. If I come down to that red light and I'm sitting there, that's probably like 3 minutes. I feel like it's like 3 minutes.
3 trucks, you mean?
Yeah, 3 trucks. So
it's just 3 trucks.
In the time it takes me to get a green light and turn onto Sicklerville Road, 3 trucks already entered that road. And what they said was, this isn't going to create any different. This isn't going to change anything in any of the intersections.
Yep.
Now, I already know that certain times a day, when I leave Garwood Road onto Sicklerville Road, if I go right, usually the traffic there starts at that new storage facility, and it runs all the way basically down to the 42 entrance and sometimes beyond that to the Black Horse Pike.
Yep.
So that's kind of a nightmare when I have to go that way. And then if I go the other way, I kind of got the traffic going all the way to Cross Keys Road. It's going, so you're going to add 3 trucks just in the time that it took me to get onto the road.
Right.
So 1 truck a minute for every time that I'm on there. You can't tell me that's not going to affect traffic.
We should, as Gloucester Township, we should stop using the word minutes. We should just say trucks. 60 trucks ago.
Yeah. Yeah, 60 trucks ago.
I'll be there in 45 trucks.
Yeah.
I'm on my way.
It is,
That's nuts.
There's a part of me that saw all this meeting, and I was like, man, if they pass it, all these people are going to feel defeated.
Yep.
Just like me. Just like me for years.
Every single week, yeah. Every other week.
It is, they will go to, there's no, the end that they will go to deceive you and do what they want to do. It's unbelievable. So
yeah, with this whole stacked agenda that they had with the friendlies thing, and then going into the warehouse thing, there's a time at the end of the night that they want to be finished by. You know what I mean? They're not. I've seen it on YouTube and other places where they'll go till 2-3 in the morning. Not Gloucester Township. There was a 11 o'clock cutoff of.
Keep in mind,
this is going to be done at this point in time here.
Full house of people
right.
that want to talk, and they're back there. And if you watch the whole meeting from our website, they can't contain themselves back there. They cannot wait to talk.
Yeah.
So at some point,
it's hours of sitting there listening to what can only be described as people up there filibustering, taking up the time to not allow the residents to talk. Push it off to another date. Let it happen another time.
I put this meeting on today. I found it today. I put it on today, and I've got multiple screens when I'm working, and I got it up on the screen over here, and I'm listening to it. And at some point, I stopped and thought, "What am I listening to?"
Right. That's what everyone there was.
And this was a great part here, where I just thought, like, what is this guy talking about?
Oh, the sound.
The sound guy.
This is the sound guy. Yeah, the sound guy. Oh wow!
Check it out.
And they come in panels that are nominally 4 feet wide and 8, 10, 12 feet, and they stack up like Legos. You stain them an earth color. There's greens and grays and things like that. We find that if you like my plywood comment, then you'll love me saying we generally don't want to paint them aircraft orange. But I have seen them done in camo.
Now what is this sound guy talking about color for?
I don't know.
They're built out of concrete. There are PVC panels that stack like I guess I'm dating myself if I say Lincoln logs, but they stack them up like planks.
Oh my God!
And they're in different colors, and properly done, they last essentially forever.
When that guy started talking, right? That girl was
just
2
born.
years
Yeah,
old, I think, and
was...
she's now at least 6. It was insane, the amount of filibustering and just random questions of people that make. Now listen, again, I'll go back. They have the right to present their case. They have a very big case to present here, but I mean, come on, it was insane.
If you build, if they can build a camouflage warehouse out of Lincoln logs, at least it'll be a tourist attraction. I mean, at least we'll finally get that Gloucester Township destination that we've always talked about. We've always said we want Gloucester Township to be a destination for people. A Lincoln log warehouse.
Yeah, I think at that point he was talking about the sound barriers outside of the place. But it was, again, basically the determination that we got so far was that the traffic, no impact. Sound, we are not going to hear anything at all because we're already in violation of how much noise it is. So there's going to be zero impact to sound, zero impact to traffic. This is like a magical place. I mean, I can't wait. If this gets built, I can't wait to see it because it might cure cancer. I don't know.
I'm glad you brought up the sound thing because I didn't make notes of that too. But so he's basically saying, I think it was like 50 decibels is like that's the max noise that they'll make. And what he was saying was we sat and we recorded, I guess, over days, sounds in the area, and we took out like when an airplane flies over, or like a loud motorcycle goes by.
Ambient noise.
The ambient noise in that area is about 65. So basically, he's like, look, it's already noisy here, guys.
You already suck. It sucks
yeah.
already. It's not going to suck anymore.
It sucks already here, so you guys aren't even going to notice that we're going to be in here making more noise.
Right. The trucks aren't even going to be out. You're not even going to see them. There's going to be more trucks than there are minutes in a day. You're not even going to see them. Not going to sit in traffic, and you won't even hear them.
Like, you guys are too busy covering your ears than you are driving on our roads. So, yeah, that's
pretty amazing.
That was the takeaway from that. And when it all came down to about 11 o'clock, and people were ready to talk, and they were ready to go.
Right. Well, the sound guy was done droning on and on and on and on and on and on. Then we got into the planner, where it was. Well, here we'll play the clip for you. This was right before the planner was supposed to go on, which was the fourth expert witness of the applicant.
Let me just say something, folks. We have a half hour. How long is it going to take you to go through your presentation?
Watch this.
I'm not sure, but I can't imagine it would be more than 30 minutes.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, folks, please let me get through this. It's important that we have the public portion. It's one of the most important things that we hear. We're not going to get to it tonight. No, we're not going past 11 o'clock. We're going to continue the public portion. You're going to do your presentation. Please stay to hear the rest of the presentation. And we will continue this next month, 10/12.
10/12, he says. You heard that, right?
Yep.
The mayor's office told me today on the phone. This will
So it'll be October.
Everyone is heard.
It will be, listen.
I was told by the mayor's office today.
October 20th.
As long as it's in the start before 10 o'clock, everyone in this room has a right to be heard tonight.
Listen, sir, get ready. Please take it out of here.
All right. There goes Brian Burns getting thrown out.
Take him out of here.
Get the police over there. Get him out of here. That man's disrupting.
That is, again, one of the nicest
So
guys.
Brian
Just cares about open space and preserving land in this township. And
he basically, if you couldn't understand what he said, he basically said, I spoke to the mayor's office this morning, and they said as long as this meeting starts before 10 p.m., everyone in that room will have their voice heard. And that's not what happened, because the meeting started well before 10 p.m., which what he was saying was if the friendlies thing that we were speaking of earlier went extra long and they didn't start until 10 o'clock, the mayor's office would understand it not everybody being heard. But if it was 10 o'clock, everybody should be heard, and that's not what happened. Mainly because people droned on and on and on and on and on. So, yeah, the date was told of October 12th was when it would be. People got pissed off. A bunch of people left there. And then, as you can hear a little later on, after the man was thrown out, Mr. Burns, he actually was allowed to stay in there, but it was a whole ordeal. But
everybody started booing, and
right,
and eventually they let
so
him
now
stay.
listen. Now a bunch of people left. They heard October 12th was the date. Now let's hear what he has to say next.
He said he could stay, Brad.
This is going to continue on October 26th.
Brad.
You have a right to be heard. You have a right to be heard, and we're not going to have time to do it tonight.
Oh.
So we will continue it. But we're going to continue with the testimony. Please stay and hear it. Continue, guys. All right, come on.
Yeah, I couldn't.
That part was great.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's two different dates that were told. I didn't pull the clip of the part, but they basically said that we're not re-announcing or advertising this meeting here. It's just happening on the 12th or the 26th. We don't know. We said both dates.
Some people are going to show up on the 12th because they left.
I mean, how frustrating.
Some people are going to show up on the 26th. So we don't know. I mean, we kind of got our own theories here. Some people on the 12th may show up, and I would think maybe the parking lot's full. It's going to be on the 26th. I don't know. That just seems to be it. It could be November. We have no idea, but that's what we know so far. So if you watched the meeting and you got frustrated, welcome to the party. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. We've been frustrated for a couple of years. We got tired of talking to ourselves, so we're here talking to you. Also talking to ourselves.
Exactly.
That's all I've got. I guess one or two of us will probably be at the next meeting.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be at the next council meeting. We'll probably be at the next warehouse meeting.
You can always hit us up online too at Restore GT on Facebook.
Restore GT on Facebook. Restore GT on Twitter. We're on Spotify. We're on YouTube. While we're talking about it, like this video. Subscribe.
Put the notifications on.
Yeah, put notifications on. Share it. Please share it. We got a lot of people talking about these topics. There's a decent amount. We got a lot of people talking to us with information that we'd like to share it the best we can. We're probably getting better at doing this than we did when we first started. So
probably not.
We're probably not.
You might be. I'm not.
We will be. I mean,
one of these days.
We just keep buying equipment. Doesn't make us look any better, but whatever. So, folks, thank you for joining us. For you folks,
if you get it, Pumpkin Festival has been rescheduled.
Yeah,
it's not going to be this Sunday. I don't know when you're watching this. I don't even know why I'm jumping in here and saying this, but
I will.
If somebody watches later on. But yeah, Pumpkin Festival is canceled till the 9th. Not canceled, rescheduled due to rain.
Yep. So not due to Sam Sweet running for like it was last year. So thank you folks for watching, and like I said, hit all the right buttons there so that you subscribe and you know when we're back on again.
Yep.
And we will be back talking about some school board stuff later on. This guy's running, so we got a lot of people to talk to. I will probably start interviewing some of these people, and there's a lot coming up, man. We get close to election day, so stay tuned, folks. And again, thank you for watching.
Thanks. Seacrest out.